And now, I think we can say it's the moment that we've been waiting for, to hear an address from the Honourable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Foreign Affairs and Information Technology, as he addresses us on this auspicious occasion, the man who holds the purse strings in Dominica and who helps to make every single tick of the clock in terms of finance to make things happen in Dominica, and no less to make water flow into your homes, not just flow in the river and in the mountains, but to get to the homes, to the bathrooms, to the kitchens, where it can be used and where it can make a difference in the lives of people. Honourable Minister, Honourable Prime Minister.
Hello, good afternoon. Let me recognize the presence of Honourable Ostry, who is the Minister responsible for Water Resource Management, Honourable Kelvin Daru, Member of Parliament for Bells. My other cabinet colleagues were here, and let me also recognize my parliamentary colleague, Honourable Bentley Roy, Senator. Let me greet the Chairman of the Board of Directors of Duasco, Mr. Larry Badwill, our dear sister who prayed for us, Ms. Jermaine Clark, the General Manager of Duasco and his staff. We have with us here the Financial Secretary, Mrs. Edwards, the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Later, the principal and staff and students of the Bells Primary School, and all of you here from Bells and, of course, the wider St. Joseph constituency, or friends from Poncasset and Sylvania who are also here with us. I want to say how happy I am to be here this afternoon, to be part of this very important ceremony, the official launch of the Bells, the Penrise, Poncasset, Glogamier Wet Area Water Project. It is a project which you spoke to us about and you indicated to us was a major priority or the main priority for this part of the country. And you recall, as my friend Mr. Kelvin Daru indicated, he also committed the government, the Labour Party, to fulfilling that request for you, the people of this community. And it is a fact that governments before us felt that it was too much of an expensive project, that you had access to so many rivers and it rains there every day, so you can have a little drum at the back of your house and collect water. But this Labour Party is a party that appreciates improving the lives and the standard of living and the pride and joy in people and families. And this is why we have taken this bold decision, but this necessary decision, to effect the commencement of this major water project at a cost of $4.6 million. Now, $4.6 million in a time when the entire world is going through very challenging and difficult circumstances is a major contribution by the government to the improvement of the way of life of the entire Bells community. And this is our commitment to the people of Dominica, that the roads which governments before felt were impossible to tread, things which our citizens felt would never happen in their lifetime, we have been able to effect the improvement to this. And of course, this Bells Road to the airport, many people felt that this road would never happen in our lifetime. But we have spent in excess of $100 million seeking to improve access throughout this country, throughout this community. So that is also an investment in Bells, because Bells has now become a major attraction in terms of people wanting to move in there, to build homes and to invest in tourism properties, because access to Bells has been improved. And now you have water. You'll be getting water soon. Early next year, you'll be getting water. That is an added blessing, an added advantage to you here in Bells. And of course, the Minister for Water highlighted the extent of government's investment since it came into office. Now, one must appreciate that when we came into office, we had to spend the first 6 years of being in office to fix an economic and fiscal mess which we inherited. It took us a long time to fix the fiscal challenge, the fiscal gap we had, the high debt we had, or the government's inability to pay salaries on time and to pay the private sector in Dominica for goods and services which were procured. There were many businesses in Dominica that were not accepting government LPOs because they were not guaranteed of getting paid for that goods and services which they were providing to the government. And when a government gets to a point where people are not prepared to give you credit, something is seriously wrong with you. And that is what we inherited as a government. And we spent many years fixing it. And by the grace of God and the support of the Dominican people, we were able to overcome those fiscal and economic challenges which confronted Dominica. And we have brought much improvement to this country. In terms of education, our education revolution is unparalleled in terms of our investment in education, allowing more students to have access to education, but not only access, but the means of taking advantage of the access is also critical. Because you could have the spaces and students are unable to take advantage of it. You have seen an unparalleled number of students studying overseas in many parts of the world under full and partial scholarships from the government. And these are not scholarships which people come and knock on the government's door and say, look at scholarship. These are scholarships which the government itself has gone out to negotiate for and on behalf of the young people of this country. And that is the kind of investments we've been making in this country. But to get these resources to do these kind of projects and to be able to repay, you must manage the affairs of the country in a prudent and a responsible manner. And this is why we've always told the people of Dominica that that is one of the main and important elements of this small island states like ours. You are very open. Anything can happen to you by external shocks. But you must take hold and charge of the things that you can have control over. And fiscal prudence and fiscal responsibility are key characteristics for any government that is willing to run the affairs of Dominica. So when you hear people are saying that they will remove this tax and that tax and those taxes and these taxes, it is foolishness they're talking. Because you must now tell us, if you have $200 million to spend and to pay salaries, you must show in a very clear manner where you will get this $200 million to pay for salaries and services. You cannot go and say you will remove this tax just because you want to gain votes. But what happens to the country after that? Right. What happens to our well-being? What happens to our schools? What happens to our students? What happens to how are we going to repay our debts? And people who are giving us money, they have taxes in the country. So how are they going to give you money when you have no taxes? This is why you would have realized in the Caribbean, countries which had no income tax or a sales tax or VAT had to introduce these things because countries which give us aid are saying to us, we are paying taxes. And you cannot come to us and ask us for money when you are not willing to make your people contribute. So they have had to institute and impose on their citizens taxes. And of course, many of us would like to live in a country where there are no taxes. But is this a realistic option, knowing how the world operates? Countries around us are sending people home, hundreds of people home. We have not lost one job, notwithstanding the global crisis. Not one job. And when people are asked, if you were to come into office, what would you do with the NEP? Instead they answer the question, they're cursing the journalists. They're cursing the journalists because they know that if they were to come into office, they wouldn't have the capacity or the ability to maintain those programs because they have no friends out of Dominica. They have nobody who no leader in the country, in the world, who they can call and say, we need help. And in this day and age, my dear friends, you need friends. You need friends as a country that if you have a difficulty, you can reach out to and they will reach out to you. And so when they're asked about the NEP, they are unable to answer because they know they are not in support of this initiative. So The leadership will tell you that when we come in, we'll remove history care and all these housing programs and so forth, the public support program in the office of the Prime Minister. And some man who's retiring and going away, his own business, is saying that when he comes in, he will keep this thing. But you go in. So it is those who are coming in that we have to listen to. Right. And what is their plan? What are their plans and programs for this country? But you have in the Labour Party a government, a party that knows what it's about, has demonstrated its capabilities and its capacity to deliver to the people of Dominica. And if you're going to keep, as you say, everything, or continue everything, then what is the call for change? There must be a clear disparity between what is now existing and what you intend to bring. But you cannot say to continue and to change. So you understand the importance of the elections coming up and the decisions that you have to make for the future of Dominica. But let me say to the people of Bells that this party is committed to you. I have been to Bells a number of times, numerous times, in the furthest mountains of Bells and so on. And it is a community which I believe deserves every single dollar that has been spent in this community. And we will continue. I have given instructions to the Ministry of Public Works that we need to spend about $250,000 on the Glogomie Wet Area Road. We started something, but we need to continue because there are sections that are bad. I have given instructions to the Permanent Secretary that that project should commence. We intend to use 2 contractors, local contractors here in Bells to effect the works for us. So we're hoping that we can start very soon. But just to say to you that this project is important. And I heard the Minister for Water say that providing that there are no cost overruns. Let me say to the contractors that I am not interested in hearing anything about cost overruns. So manage the project properly. And DOASCO must provide daily supervision because the Minister of Finance is saying there shall be no cost overruns. So the contract is 4.6. If you can spend 4.2, fine with me. But do not spend beyond 4.6 because I need the monies to spend in other parts of the country because we have to try to stretch the dollar. And if the project says that we're going to end in June, it should be June of 2015. It should not be June 2016. So let us understand very clearly that when I come back here in Bells as the Prime Minister of the country again for another 5 years, I need to come to commission the water in 2015, not 2016. I'll be around 2016, but I want to commission the water in Bells in 2015. So I want to thank you. And I do not have to tell the people of Bells what they have to do, when they have to do, what they have to do. I mean, Andy is here. Andy has been around for a long time. You know, Labour used to get about 15 votes if we were lucky, back in the 80s and so forth. But the people of Bells have recognized that this party loves them, this party cares for them, and this party has demonstrated its commitment to the people of Bells and so on. So we understand ourselves and what we have to do at the appropriate time and so on. But I want to commend the leadership of Kelvin Darrow. Sometimes he's a lone ranger and so forth. He'll come to Bells all by himself and all these things and so on. But we cannot set aside the fact that this young man is a hard-working young man, a committed young man, and he has demonstrated his ability to deliver to you. And I am saying to you that I have the highest regard for him and his efforts and so forth. And he is right that he used to put blows on Mr. Austri in the cabinet to ask about the Bells. And, you know, I used to support him because I said, look, where's the water for Bells? I have approved this water, and I came here to school and tell me, look, do not come back without the water in Bells. So where's the water? But Mr. Austri, you know, he always listens, and he will go ahead and do what he has to do for it. But I want to commend the leadership of Kelvin in this constituency, and to say that I have the highest regard for his efforts and for his commitment. Also, Minister Austri. Minister Austri has been very diligent and efficient in getting things done, both in housing and water. He's a minister that we can always rely on to get things done. The board, the chairman, the board of DOASCO, the management of DOASCO, you know, I have the highest regard for your efforts and your commitment. You know, and I do not give marks very easily. You know, you have to earn those marks. And I can say that, Mr. Chairman, that you have in fact earned those marks. And also the general manager of DOASCO. You have done a very fantastic job in advancing the revolution in water and improvement in water. And of course, to the staff and the guys who are out at 12 o'clock and in rain, who have to fix the pipes when they burst, something we take them for granted. And we have to recognize the national spirit which they normally exemplify on the job and so on. So we want to thank all of you, and of course, let me say, again, to stress in this, we need to ensure that the project is properly supervised, that we do not damage the roads unduly if we have to go across or whatever it is. When we cut the road, DOASCO, I do not want to hear you guys tell me that you paid public works. I want those roads replaced immediately. We take too long. I'm on the West Coast Road. Why are you taking so long to surface this thing? And if we do not have the bitumen for the time being, let us put some concrete in it. But we have to move very quickly in redressing this. And if public works is not doing the job diligently, give it to a private contractor, give it to somebody else who can do it. But when we cut the roads, we should not take so long. Because the longer we take to reinstate it, the more deterioration on the road and the bigger headache for me. So we understand this thing, and I don't want anybody to take this personally. People like to take things personally. I am raising a concern on behalf of the citizens of this country, and we have to speak very candidly sometimes. Because at the end of the day, I get blamed for it and so on. And I am sometimes far removed from this thing. So let us appreciate the need for us to do that. But I am very happy, Mr. Minister. Thank you for inviting me. It is a place, Bells, you know, wonderful people, wonderful place. I'm very happy to be here. Let us continue to work together for the advancement of this country. We have done quite a bit of work in this country, but there's still a lot more to be done. And we can only achieve it if we work together for the greater good of our people. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. I didn't hear the round of applause. I didn't hear it.